Entertaining, informative, and educational. Inspiring content that makes a difference.
This is the Maximus Troy Publications Broadcasting Network.
Join the Academy. The Breeders' Academy proudly presents Bred to Perfection with Kenny Troiano, a show for serious breeders.
Whether you are looking to create a new strain or simply improve an old one, you have come to the right place.
Daddy, I want more chickens.
Oh, boy.
Now, here's your host, Kenny Troiano.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bred to Perfection. My name is Kenny Troiano, and this, my friends, is the podcast devoted to helping you become a better breeder and taking your strain to the next level. That's right, my friends. It doesn't matter if you are brand new to breeding or you've been breeding for many years. There is something all of us can do to improve our fowl for future generations.
Mrs. Knott's chicken! I didn't think that was possible! Oh! I'm not a veterinarian, but that cannot be good for that chicken's knees. Oh, disgusting! Oh, he's breaking free! Whoa! Oh, rats! Whoa!
Okay, welcome to another episode of Bred to Perfection. I'm Kenny Troiano, founder of the Breeders' Academy, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Nancy and Frank Bradley. What's up?
Frank is frozen.
This thing's going crazy for some reason.
Really? Hopefully we're not going to lose Frank. You were doing fine up until this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not now.
Okay,
no,
everybody. Are Kenny and I freezing up, or is it just Frank? Ready, set, go. Answer.
What a way to start.
I couldn't even hear Tony's intro or anything. I was like, what the heck is that? It was like, it sounded like a Star Trek episode or something.
It's funny. I told Nancy, I go, wait till you see the new short. Did you recognize it, Nancy?
Oh, yeah, I know who it is. Can I say who it is or no? Can we give him a plug?
I don't know if we can or not. We do something at Knoxbury Farm every year. It's called Not Scary Farm. For a whole month, they celebrate Halloween in a really cool way. They have all these, what do they call them, Nancy? All these different
Mazes, like haunted mazes.
And they're really cool. And this guy, he videos them, and they're pretty funny to watch the way he does it. And Tony's got me hooked on this thing. And she goes, he just said chickens. I go, he did. I says, back it up. I says, okay, I'll use it for a short. Actually, Frank and Amanda are coming to California in October, and I'm going to take them to this thing. It's a lot of fun. I'm not sure how Frank would think of it, but from what I understand, Amanda's going to like it quite a bit.
She's a Halloween freak. That's her most favorite. Christmas, Thanksgiving, push that over to the side. She is all Halloween, all about the Halloween.
Okay, you're not explaining it very well, Kenny. Let me tell you guys, anybody that lives...
Well, I was trying to give the
Southern
short version
California,
so we could get on with the show, but I should have just had Nancy do it.
If anybody lives in Southern California, you got to go to Knott's Scary Farm. It's Knott's Berry Farm, but it's not Scary Farm because you go at night and you can go through all these different mazes, and then it's horror, actually. And I'm not a big horror person, but I love it. They have actors that are walking through Knott's Berry Farm, just scaring you, just jumping out at you. And that may not seem like very much fun, but watching other people get scared, no, that's fun. So anyway, we're going to take Frank and Amanda to it. If Frank can't handle it, they have lots of nice little places to sit real comfy, drink your hot chocolate or whatever he likes. And they have a good bakery, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Let me just
I
say
might have
this.
to take a flask with me.
Yeah. there you go.
It's not that bad. You get used to it. But I will say this, just to sum it up real quick, which is what I was trying to do in the beginning, and Nancy turned it into a 15-minute description. But I'm going to play it again for Frank so he could hear it. But what's happening is this guy's walking through Ghost Town, and there's scarers going around scaring you. And there's some of them that will come at you and slide on their knees and scare you, and sparks go all over the place. This guy happened to be dressed up like a chicken. And that's why he said what he did. Let me play it real quick just so you can hear it. I'll just play the beginning.
Mrs. Knott's chicken, I didn't think that was possible. Oh! I'm not a veterinarian, but that cannot be good for that chicken's knees. Oh, disgusting! Oh, he's breaking free! Oh, rats! Whoa!
I see why that sounded so weird now.
This guy is hilarious. I don't know why Hollywood hasn't picked this guy up and put him in movies or something. This guy is so funny. But if you ever get a chance, go on YouTube and put in Not Scary Farm. And his YouTube channel is Justin Scarred. And check out some of his videos. But that'll give you kind of an idea what you're going to be dealing with in October.
Yeah, you guys have muzzle meat.
No, it's good.
Actually, we can buy you a little green button, and when the scare people see you, they won't come anywhere near you.
It's a necklace with a bunch of lights, and it's flashing all over the place. Trust me, you don't want to wear it.
No, he'll be fine.
They may want me to wear it, though.
Yes, because they will jump out at you. And I know you, Frank, you're going to be busting somebody's jaw. I can just see it now.
I'm from Kentucky. Somebody jumps out on you real fast, you swing.
Yeah.
You don't ask no questions.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Is Frank there?
He froze again.
I really don't want to do this without him today because this is a really good topic.
There he is.
Let me go out real fast and come back in and see if that helps. I'll be right back, guys.
Did you see this, Nancy? This was on our group page. This is our Facebook group page for the Breeders' Academy. Sometimes if I just need a laugh, I just go to the group page where our members are hanging out and watch them communicate with each other. And this was one that came up earlier today. Troy put in, my new broodcock, what do you guys think? And I thought it was so funny because Robbie goes, I'm sure he has a wonderful personality. Did we already talk about the fact we had Brian Reeder on?
No.
Was it last week, Nancy?
It was last Saturday.
Okay. So we spent 8 hours talking with Brian about poultry genetics, poultry colors, and a number of other topics. We actually recorded 4 separate episodes. I learned a lot on that talk. And this is going to be for our members. We will have some experts for the front end, and we'll talk about...
Excerpts. You said experts.
No, I thought I said excerpts.
Sounded like experts.
You want to run the show?
This part,
I'm about ready to stop and just let you do the rest of it.
Guys, save me. I'm in trouble now.
Commercial break.
The hardest part is getting through all this junk in the beginning, and Nancy's like slowing me up so bad.
I want to talk about him too.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So Brian Reeder is really great because he had so much energy. And I'll tell you, we started at 5 p.m. We didn't finish up until 1:30 in the morning. And he still had more energy. We didn't get to bed that night until 3 a.m. But I asked a lot of good questions. We discussed the red in the silver duckwing, what's going on there, how to fix that. Lots of different things going on with color genetics. And he helped us simplify it so that everybody can understand what he was talking about. So it's going to be a really good series of shows. We'll do a few little outtakes for the public, but most of it is going to be strictly for the members only. And there you go.
Now, the first time we talked for 5 hours, it's about 3 or 4 really good topics that I'm going to peel off of those. And I may put some of those on the front and then the rest on the back. He talked about whites in a way that I've never heard before. And I think this is going to open a lot of eyes between pure white chickens with white in them, or like a mixture of white, and then the ones that have like white wings and white tail. He talks about that too. I can't wait to put that out. But like I said, most of this is going to be for the members anyways. But he talked about the alleles that really matter, pattern modifiers. He talked about the different color varieties and how they were created. And we answered a lot of the members' questions. We had some of the followers ask questions in my group page, Kenny Troiano. And then some of the members asked questions in the Breeders' Academy group page. And so he answered those too. But we are planning on doing a lot more topics. We're planning on doing genetic resistance to disease, something he knows quite a bit about, epigenetics. Him and I talked about the origins of the chickens. He's going to redo that one and a whole bunch more. And then Frank and I are going to go in, and whatever we don't cover with Brian, Frank and I are going to cover. Either way, I'm going to jump into Mendelian genetics. We're going to talk about advanced genetics. We're going to go deep into polygenic inheritance. and everything you need to know about creating a strain. And there's a lot of information already on the website for that, but this is going to build on that and enhance the information that's already on the website. But this is mostly for the members. So if you want to learn more about genetics, more about color genetics, more about genetics in general when it comes to poultry, make sure you join the Breeders' Academy. Just so you know, this is the front end, which we're running out of time really fast. Thank you, Nancy. Make sure the members go into the back end for the members roundtable. For some of you are thinking about joining the Breeders' Academy, go to www.breedersacademy.com, click how to become a member. That'll take you to the registration page and you can join. And in there, you're going to get 25 years of my life's work all in one place. You're going to get the daily articles, the Breeders Program, known as the Founders Program, our programs and courses on breeding. Pretty much everything you want to know about breeding is there. The members' roundtables, coaching calls, healthcare and disease prevention information, and then you're going to get expert interviews. And we're not only change the way you think about breeding, but we're going to change the way you breed your fowl. Also, even if you're not planning on becoming a member right now, go to www.breedersacademy.com, join our newsletter. This is our Breeders Bulletin. There you're going to get some free tips, free information on breeding, free ebooks on breeding, access to the free site, new opportunities for new subscribers. So make sure you subscribe today. Like I said, just go to www.breedersacademy.com to subscribe. I saw this online, and the guy was asking other people on another page if you had to choose what would be your favorite gamecock bloodline and why. And so I thought we would talk about it because it just seems like we're never going to get away from the name game. And I even had a member, when I posted it on my site to get everybody's opinion on it, the response to it, one of my members goes, "Are you actually talking about the name game?" I said, "I hope not, but I'm afraid we are." And I just wanted to see how everybody responded. And it seemed like the members really understood it, really got it. I had one member say that he is done with the name game. He'll never play the name game ever again. And then I saw other people posting the breeds that they like. And I was like, okay, I can see where some are getting it. Most of them are members and some aren't.
Yeah. You know what I use for an imagery to get through to people? I just tell them. And I think this is the best way to describing it. I said, you don't call a Atari an Xbox. Okay. And that's what we're doing when we're calling these birds by the 150-year-old names. Those birds don't exist anymore. Atari would have a better chance being an Xbox than a hatch rooster would be a hatch today, in my opinion.
Yeah, the members, they got it. They understood exactly what I was saying. They understood what I was getting at. They understood the response I was looking for. And then there was some that was just throwing up the names. Claret, I see a roundhead here. I see Kelso here. The responses that I was enjoying were the ones that were saying, the gamefowl bloodline I want are the ones that I'm creating myself. Those are the ones that really made me feel good. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at is I like the response I was getting from the members because it made me feel like we're actually making a difference. In some little way, we're actually changing things.
It's the way you have to look at it. And what we're talking about here is people still calling them by their own name, Kelso, hatch. If somebody had actually got birds directly from one of these old breeders and had never added any outside blood to them whatsoever and had them all this time, they still would not be Kelso, hatch, or whatever they are because that's not the actual breeder selecting those birds. It's other people besides that person. Those are not his birds anymore. Mm-hmm. Once somebody else is selecting the birds to breed, then his name is no longer involved in his equation the way I look at it.
I just feel like they never were. Those bloodlines never did exist.
They called them whatever come off that farm. They called them Kelso, hatch, whatever they bred. But if you go back and you check a lot of them, all of them were just hybrids. It was just crosses. They was breeding best to the best, winners to winners. They really didn't even go into the term type confirmation. They just went and was making a bunch of hybrids, and that was pretty much it.
I didn't want to get heavy into this, but I just was pleased to see what I saw was how the members responded and the things they said. It's nice to see that we're making a difference.
It's a wives' tale when you get down to it.
I'll tell you, Robbie described it. He says, my Kelso are just as pure as when Abe Lincoln's great-grandmother's boyfriend bred them. Love it.
Okay, so you want to get into the topic?
Yeah, what is the topic of the day?
The topic is benefits of breeding for the complete package. And it was just one of the things I was thinking about one day because most people don't realize that they can do that. they spend a lot of time working on one trait or the other. In the process, they're actually breeding for one trait versus the other, and they're losing a lot of other traits. And so I'm always a firm believer that if you breed for the complete package or select for the complete package and then breed accordingly, a lot of times you are only left with a handful of birds to breed to, because in the beginning, your numbers that are worth breeding are going to be quite low. But that's a good thing, because we don't want to breed to all of them anyways. We want to breed to the ones that actually can move your strain forward.
This is what gets me, though. They say, oh, that's all they are is pretty roosters. But at the end of the day, if a person can make a rooster type in conformation, he can make his body the way it needs to be with the look that it needs to be. Don't you give him the credit that he can do just as much on the inside as he can do the outside? People doesn't look at it that way.
That is the complete package too. It's not just the outside, it's the inside too.
Exactly. But they look at it and they say, oh, that's just a pretty rooster. That's all they see. Nothing else. Oh, that's just a pretty rooster. That's a yard decorator. Nothing else exists on that rooster type. But a lot of them will say, okay, they think a inbred family is supposed to look like bantams. They're supposed to be underweight. They are not supposed to have the conformation. And when they breed them together, they think he's got the conformation intact because he's a hybrid. He's supposed to have that. And yeah, even though a hybrid is going to be better in every way than a straight bred, pure inbred family, what I'm saying is they don't have to differ. Bird that is from a pure family can still have the right type and conformation and look just as good on the outside as that hybrid bird. But a lot of people think they need to look inbred. They need to look small and little, short-legged, short tails, that they don't look like they're supposed to. That's not the way to look at it, and that's not the way it is.
Those aren't signs of being inbred. That's signs of poor selection.
Exactly.
And even if you're crossing birds to get that hybrid vigor, and I'm not convinced that most people even know what that means. All they know is they see a bump. They think it's improvement, but it's not the bump they think it is. But the problem is, unless you're breeding two pure families that are pure in their own right and they nick, you're not going to see a widespread improvement in all the offspring anyways. Even with hybrid vigor, you're going to get variation in the offspring. They're going to be totally unpredictable. So what? You're going to breed a whole bunch of birds from that cross to hopefully get one or two that might look the way they should or be what you're looking for. And then you're going to scrap those two? When you could have bred two pure families, birds that have better prepotency, better mitochondrial DNA, when you put them together, you're going to get better hybrid vigor. And they're going to mostly be good. You're going to get the true hybrid vigor throughout the offspring. And all the offspring, or most of them, are going to be really good. I don't know if they don't think it through or they just don't know, Frank.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people, and I've seen it over the years, and I was almost convinced at one time myself that you had to have them looking inbred before they would throw out good crosses. And that's not the fact. That's not the way it has to be. A purebred bird can look just as good as a hybrid on the outside. Now, we'll say it again. Hybrids are much better birds. They're supposed to be. That's the way it works. But looking at them side by side each other, you're not going to be able to look and tell the hybrid from the straight bred rooster. But a lot of people think, oh, that's hogwash. A hybrid looks like a hybrid, and then a purebred looks inbred. That's the way they think about it. But it's like you said, Kenny, I think it's just them not knowing that you can actually breed an inbred family to look just as good as any hybrid that's ever set down.
What they don't realize, you can get a certain degree of hybrid vigor from a pure family if you know what you're doing. And we teach that at the Breeders'
You're
Academy.
going to get the max.
Yeah.
You're going to get the max. Not, say, a 75% bump or 80% bump. You're going to get full potential out of that pair of trait birds, inbred birds.
So if you're breeding for the complete package, that means you're not breeding to everything in your yard. That's a good thing. Everybody thinks that they have to breed everything that they produced. Every bird on the yard should be bred, when we should be looking at the standouts, the handful that are moving them forward.
Yeah, because if you're going to start your branches even before your tree starts to grow, you're in bad problems. It's just like people taking these hybrid birds and putting them into a line breeding, or not even clean them up, Kenny. They're not even cleaning them up. They're just taking this bird and put them together. And if they like the bird, they go straight into line breeding. They don't ask no questions about it. They don't clean them up. They don't do anything before it. They just go straight into the line breeding part. And I think a lot of it is just not knowing. I think that's a lot of it. And what we've been told. I had a hard time convincing you that a lot of people out there thought line breeding was the beginning and the end to a breeding program. And it just keeps evolving and growing.
It was when you said they use it as a maintenance program. Their only goal is to keep them as good as they got them from the original breeder. That's what got my attention. They use it as a maintenance program. Something about that wasn't really registering with me until I heard that he was trying to keep them as good as he got them. It was never even a thought in his mind that he was going to try to improve them generation after generation. He just wanted to keep them where they were. When you're breeding to everything, and you're not breeding to the few birds that have the complete package or the closest to complete package, you're not improving the strain because you're breeding good birds, mediocre birds, and bad birds. You're breeding everything. So you're widening the diversity within the family instead of focusing on the few that can actually take you to the next level.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons we was talking backstage, the members roundtable. At first, I was telling them they had a hard time picking the offspring because they all look so good. They had 4 that looked really good and they couldn't make a pick. I was always telling them, breed them all 4, and then whichever one produces the best offspring, go with that one. I don't even tell them that anymore because I know what's going to happen. They're going to breed all of them. They're going to get all these offsprings off, and then what they're going to do, they're going to breed them all.
Nancy, we teach at the Breeders' Academy, only breed to the standouts. They're the only ones that have the ability to take your fowl to the next level. But the truth is, and it's the reason they are the standouts, it's only a few of them. In the beginning of your breeding program, it's not going to be all of them. It's just going to be a handful of them at first.
Let me say this. Going back to what people think when they get an Adam and an Eve that they think is perfect, and all they want to do is replicate that Adam and Eve from there on. They don't think that there's anything that needs to be improved because they really think those two are great. Okay. What if you thought that back in the day when you got those 2 birds from Tony and the way they were then compared to the way they are now, if you would have been stuck in that mindset of, oh, I just want to keep this line going the way it looks right now, you would never have improved and maintained a strain as good as it looks today if you would have thought that way.
They were bad then, they'd be bad today.
Well,
Or worse, maybe.
Yeah,
okay,
maybe.
well, here's the thing I'm thinking of is some people, they just don't realize that, yeah, they may look really good and you're lucky that you got what you got, but everything always has room for improvement.
Oh, no, everything can be improved. Yep.
And you just need to know what to look for. And I think the problem with some people is they just don't know what to look for.
No, we always say that if the offspring are better than the parents, even a little bit, you're moving in the right direction. If they're not, then you're not. If they're worse, you're going backwards. And whether you're going backwards because you're picking the wrong offspring, or you just have really bad fowl, or you have good fowl, mediocre, and bad fowl, and you're breeding everything, those wrong birds, Frank, are the ones that are going to hold you back. You're just not going to advance at all.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem. And usually if somebody goes to a farm, they get a trio. And right off the bat, they go to the trio breeding method. And it's a waste of time. And the thing about it is they get them, they keep them. They just want the birds coming as they are. They never think I can improve them and make them better. I think that thought never goes through their head. They just want to breed them and get what they've got, and they don't even think about actually making them better, I don't think.
I can't even fathom that. I always thought that people knew that the idea was improve them generation after generation, that you're looking for the offspring that are better than the parents. But some of the things that we're looking to improve, and it's important to every breeder, no matter what chickens or type of chickens you're breeding, is improving the overall performance. By selecting individuals that best represent their breed and variety, you're more likely to produce offspring that are more successful in the purpose for which they were bred and created, Frank.
This is the thing. What if somebody goes and they pay $1,500, $2,500 for a trio? They bring them home, they breed them, and then next thing you know, they're all getting sick. What do they do then? They spent all this money. What are they going to do? That's the reason I say, if you go forth to buy chickens, a lot of it you can fix with the Founders Program with a good breeding program. But if they're sick, right off the bat, you're going to have a hard road to go. Not saying you can't get out of it, but that puts a stomper on everything. It's dependent on what they're sick with. And a lot of times it's multiple things. It's not just one ailment. It's multiple things. I'm not saying that's a kill me now, but it does put you way behind to breed fowl that's got a health problem.
Health is a big deal. When we're selecting to improve performance ability, we're looking at the health of the bird. We're looking at the conformation of the bird. We're looking at the phenotype. We're looking at the genotype. We're looking at everything. So again, we don't want to select for one thing. We want to select for multiple things. And if we're selecting for the right thing, it's going to improve their overall performance. As far as adaptability and survivability to their environment, like Frank said, by selecting the healthiest and culling the sick and the weak, you're improving the strain's ability to survive and adapt to its environment. The nice thing about that is you're not going to have to depend on medications anymore, Frank, at all. That all goes away if you do it right.
And that's a wonderful thing. Been there, done that. And it's expensive. It's time consuming. And it's the biggest pain in the butt. Once you've had chickens that you don't have to medicate every time a cold front moves in or every time it snows or every time it goes from cold to hot, that's a wonderful feeling. Have a healthy fowl.
Yeah. And Nancy, if we're selecting the healthy birds, getting rid of the sick birds, we quit giving the medications. We're improving disease resistance.
Absolutely. I agree.
What do you think, Frank? Pass that one to you.
It cut out.
Absolutely. He agrees.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're struggling with Frank today. It's what's actually throwing me off. I can see him leaving the screen every now and then. I'm not sure if he's going to be there the whole time. Anyways, what I was basically saying is if you're selecting the healthy birds, getting rid of the sick birds, getting rid of the medications so that you're exposing those weak birds, you're improving their resistance to disease. He's not there, is he?
No, but
he left a really nice smile.
That's okay. That's the benefits of breeding for the complete package. Do we want to take a quick break?
Yeah, we can if you need to.
Okay, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. There you go, Kenny. It's on you.
Oh, shit. You didn't tell me. I thought you were going to do it. Man, we're going to have to talk. This is a terrible show.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. This show was brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where we will help you to increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and help you to improve the quality and performance of your fowl. As a member, we'll provide you with the roadmap that you will need to create a true family or strain. I urge you to check it out. You've got nothing to lose, and you can cancel at any time. You also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Simply go to www.breedersacademy.com to sign up.
The Breeders Academy will not only change the way you think about breeding, but improve the way you breed your fowl.
I hope to see you there. So let's get started.
I was just thinking about it. We're screwing this show up so bad. Did we really want to advertise that we have something to offer with the way we're putting on the show? Thank God we have other episodes they can fall back on.
Absolutely, because our website is awesome. No, actually, I forgot that I was the one that was supposed to do those from now on.
I know, we need to talk more.
Oops.
I always got to
worked
give
that
Nancy
way.
the standard lecture every time we do a show. Don't talk over us. Wait till we're done.
If I didn't cut in at least a couple times, I would never.
That's why I'm trying to work you in.
Frank.
You just do the best you can. If you don't have it, then I'm going to send it back to Frank and we'll get that question answered one way or another.
The thing of it is I don't have it when I give you one answer words.
I know.
Mine's fine as soon as it comes up my turn to speak.
Yeah. You missed it because I sent it off to Nancy to see what she would do. And then she goes, yep.
Yep.
No, absolutely.
You're supposed to do this. Yeah. That's one between me and Kenny, by the way. That's a little insider on me and Kenny. Kenny knows what I'm talking about.
I think today we're hiding under the crooked sticks, not out in the front of it talking about it.
I think I fell over it and knocked myself out, I believe.
I think you fell into the bonfire.
Now watch. It's great right now. As soon as we get back on the topic, it'll go out again. Wait and watch.
Okay, so where are we?
Preventing
Preservation.
string resistance to disease.
Hey, He interrupted you. Are you going to get on his case now?
I'm trying to think what he said. Oh, we passed that a long time ago, Frank.
Between my,
Yeah.
it probably did. So
Yeah.
where are we at?
The good news for the members, because they get the front end and the back end, I clean up the front end, put the back end on it. So the members are never going to see all this mess, just everybody else.
They're not going to get any of the funny.
No, they're not going to get any of the funny. It wasn't that funny. Okay, so preservation of genetic diversity. So breeding for a complete package can help preserve genetic diversity within the population while at the same time improving their overall uniformity and consistency throughout the strain. I like this because it gives both sides of the coin. Because a lot of people think when you're breeding for purity of blood, then you're tightening up the genetic diversity so much that there is none, that there is no variation. And that's not the case. I wish I could talk about it, but there's a method within the Founders Program that keeps that genetic diversity going so that you're still getting the variation you need to improve them, because we talk about all the time. Variation makes selection possible, and selection makes improvement possible. We always want to make sure there's a certain amount of variation, because it's a variation, it's the traits that pop up now and then that we can either cull or take advantage of. But in the meantime, we are still improving their uniformity. We're still improving their consistency. And we're improving the strain, Frank.
Yeah. And you just said a key word, uniformity. Just because they are a inbred, pure trait family doesn't mean they've got to look inbred. Okay. That's one of the biggest misconstrusions right now going on in all the group. They'll show a picture of a bird and it'll look like a pigeon, be little. That's one of my purebred birds. So uniformity doesn't have to be stuck on pure traits or hybrid. They can still have the same aspect, look, the same conformation, the same type, and still be opposites of each other, really.
We're going to get into how purity of blood does make a difference and how it plays a role. And that's the biggest telltale sign, the biggest indication whether you're getting towards a purebred family. And nothing's pure completely. But the more inbred they get, the more uniform they are, the more consistent they are, the more they're able to reproduce themselves. Then to me, you can call that a pure family. Those are the indications of a pure family, actually.
And this is something I've noticed for a while. I didn't always really notice it. But you could go on my page, on my friend's page. Somebody posts a bird. You can show me that bird and say, who bred that bird, Frank? Good or bad, bird, doesn't matter. You could show me a picture of a bird, and I would say I may miss 1 out of 5, maybe. But usually, if somebody bred a bird just like Kenny's birds, other people, I can look at that bird and I know who bred that bird. I could pretty much tell you the breeder of that bird. And that shows you we're breeding for a specific look. Kenny breeds a certain way, I breed a certain, and that's what makes us all different. Even the type and conformation should be the same, but little aspects of those birds that we use to make them our own, or like Kenny was talking about, traits pop up. Do we want to pursue it or do we want to do away with it? If we don't want it, we cull the bird, we take it out of the breeding population, and we put in what we want. That's how we get to what Kenny was talking about, uniformity and the whole aspect of them being able to reproduce themselves.
It's funny you say that, because I think that's so true. Obviously, if you look at my birds, they all look a certain way. They all have a certain look about them. Now, if I go on Facebook and I see a bird, right away I know whether it's Frank's or not. I'll look at that, and right away I know it's Frank's. I'll pull it up a little bit, and sure as hell, it's Frank's. Tony's was like that. I could tell Tony's easily. Johnny Jumper, I could tell his. My other mentors, I was able to tell that they were their birds. I could see their birds on other people's yards. Now, if you see someone who's posting birds all the time and they never look like that, they never have a certain look about them, then they're just crossing things. They're adding new blood. They're not being very specific about the traits that they're selecting. They don't have families because there's so much what we call genetic diversity throughout the strain. Let's put it this way, they don't even have a strain. And that really shows the skill of the breeder and their ability to actually create a family, improve the family, and maintain the family over many years. But if we see variation, we see all kinds of different colors, all different body shapes, different conformation of body, different types, then we know that they're either adding new blood or they don't know what they're doing.
That's when you know you need to run and run very far away. Kenny, let me ask you and Frank this.
As a breeder or the...
What is one trait that you can think of off the top of your head that is unique to your strain, both of you?
I'll tell it right away. This is for everybody. the type and conformation and color and the fact they're uniform. When you see one bird, you've seen the others.
No, you're not understanding my question.
A trait that you select for in your birds to make them
Yeah.
what
It's the
it
complete
is.
package. We're all looking for a certain type, a certain
Like
conformation.
the mascara ring that you breed
Well,
for.
that's
Kenny.
That's what I was
okay.
going to.
Little details. Okay, that's one of them, but I
Like
don't know.
mine, I breed for big tails on mine. I like the big tails. So that be one of them. There's other stuff, but I'm one that I need to start paying more attention to the white in the birds, but damn, I like it.
Oh, you know what, Frank? If you listen to Brian Reeder, you're going to change your mind.
I already know the aspects of the white. I know it before I even watch it. I know what it's going to do because if it's got one spot of white on its body anywhere, you might as well paint the whole bird white.
Yeah. One of the things that Brian, when he was talking about ways of creating or improving your strain, let me say it this way. First, by understanding the genetic factors when it comes to color and wanting to improve your strain through selection, understanding the genetic factors, one of the key points was it was always a hen. It was the hen that was going to fix the family. That's a little hint right there. I was pleased to hear that. Not shocked, surprised, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that believes that, but I was so pleased to hear it when he said that. And he said it a lot.
Anybody that's bred birds for any number of years, pretty much without anybody telling them, they know the hen's the one that's going to fix any problems in your strain.
You know how we always said that once you get the red in a gray family, you can't fix it? I learned how.
I'm working on it.
I learned how. And it has a lot to do with the hen. And I can't wait to talk to our members about that.
Since I've been doing that with the hen that you're talking about, you've seen where I've come from to pretty much red backs to now I've got some that's actually silver. So yeah, it can be done.
One of our members, he sent me some pictures because he has a gray family with some red in it, actually some mahogany in it. And he wanted to improve on them. And I was like, I can help you do that. I looked at his pictures. He showed me his cocks, his hens, his stags, and his pullets. And I go, okay, I can help you with that. So we're going to get together and I'm going to show him what to do. Yeah, it was nice to learn that. So Frank, selecting the birds that are the most complete is the quickest way to create a strain and the most efficient too.
The thing about it is, and I see this a lot, is people will start out good and they stick with it for a while. Then all of a sudden they get this one bird that's nowhere compared to the rest that they've been breeding it. And they're doing it, like you said earlier, for one trait. And they put that one bird in there. And guess what? After they put that bird in there, it messes all the work that they've done completely up. And I say that one bird, I'm talking about a bird that's not a standout, that doesn't have the type conformation that it's supposed to have. It's something else under that. And they'll take and put that one bird in there. And then all the work that they've done on selecting and the blood and sweat, they've just lessened their strain pretty much.
Well, we teach in the Founders Program that the first few stages are the cleanup process. And if you're cleaning up the detrimental and harmful traits right from the beginning, after that, it's easy. It's just a matter of fine-tuning them at that point. But first, it's understanding what those are, because it's amazing how many people don't really know what the harmful and detrimental traits are until they go into the confirmation and the defect course and find out exactly what that means. So
that defect course opens a lot of eyes, though. I've seen it open quite a few of them.
Yeah, that's why I push people there first. It's easier to breed for the complete package when you're breeding for a purpose. And I think some people think they're breeding for a purpose, but they're doing it in the wrong way. Well, let's put it this way. They start by breeding too many birds. They have too many birds on their yard. It dilutes their selection. It dilutes the process for creating a strain.
The way I see it, Kenny, and you're right, some do. They have too many birds, but some of them don't have enough. How many times if you went on a farm, you'd say, okay, where's your strain at? Right there they are, and they're all in the cage together, and it's two hens and a cock. And that's their strain right there.
That's their need, but that's not a strain. Yeah.
Yep. They consider that their family of fowl right there, those three birds. But we know that it's much more than that. That's the reason I say I had a little this, a little that, breed-wise, because I love them all. I really do. But once you start breeding more to science, the way we're teaching the breeding, if you've got 3 strains, that's a lot of cages. If you've got 1 strain and you're doing it right, that's a lot of cages.
Okay, real quick, give me a definition of a strain. If a cock and 2 hens is not a strain, what is a strain?
A strain is a family. Your husband and wife, you get married. Is that a family? Not really. It's a married couple. Until you have children, the mom and the dad, that's a family. But just 2 birds, that doesn't make up a family.
Okay,
That's just the
so
beginning
definition
of the
a
family.
strain, the definition of a strain is family.
Family.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And birds that can reproduce themselves.
Yeah. Now,
That's the main thing.
if you just have 2 birds, you're far from a family. You basically have the Adam and the Eve. You have your seed fowl. That's just the beginning. There's so much has to be done before you get to where you can call it a family. You really don't have a family even with the Founders Program till you reach the foundation stage. It's definitely not in the first 3 stages or even the transformation stage.
I'll show you how important a hen is. All my lines are hen lines except for 3. I've got 3 cock lines. And some of those, they've got like great granddaughters and grandsons. Go really back. And a lot of them I keep for a insurance policy. Anything can happen. But I can go back and show you all of them, cousins, nieces, uncles, aunts, all that. And a lot of people can't do that.
I think the biggest problem, as far as when it comes to the purpose, is you think just because you have the birds, you have a handle on the purpose. But most people don't even know their breeds. There's so-called experts out there that are big-time, well-known breeders. They don't even know the breed that they're breeding. They don't know what they don't know.
I'll say amen to that because I just recently seen that.
And if you don't know your breed, you can't select them properly.
Yeah. Every one of mine that I've got, I can pretty much go back and tell you their history from years and years back, the hands that they went through to get to my hands. And I think that's important. That's very important.
And so my biggest thing is get to know your breed, know what to select and why. Okay. Cull the birds that are holding you back, and then select the few that are the best within that family that are going to move your strain forward.
That's your best go.
So as far as breeding on purpose, I always tell people breed for a specific result. Okay, so that means that every pair you put together, you should have a pretty good idea what you're going to get from that pair. So every breeding you do should be for a specific reason, for a specific purpose. And if you understand the genetic factors, you understand your family, you should have a pretty good idea what they're going to produce. Every time you put 2 birds together, you should have a good idea what you're going to get. And if you don't, then you're just guessing, and chances are you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. And most of the time, the genetics are going to be working against you, and you're just going to be wasting time and wasting money.
There's a lot of genetics that gets passed over or done away with that they think they're doing a good thing when they're making these matings, but they're actually doing a lot away with the good traits that they think they're trying to get. They're just doing away with them because the better you understand genetics, the better you can put your birds together and know how to breed them.
For the most part, the genotype's going to be somewhat of a surprise from time to time, but we're not talking about big surprises. Usually the genotype will express its way in that you'll see a variation or some kind of variability within offspring once in a while. And it's up to you whether you want to cull it, get rid of it, or take advantage of it and breed to it and exaggerate it. But for the most part, we're just looking at the phenotype of the bird. The bird sitting in front of us, what is he telling us? Does he represent its breed for the most part? Does he have the right type conformation? Does he have the right color? Does he have the right temperament? Does he have all the traits that we're looking for that are important to us? And if we like what we see, he doesn't have any defects. He doesn't have any serious flaws. It's our job to find a mate that matches him as close as possible. Dominant recessive monogenic traits are simple. It's a one trait, one gene situation. So we're either selecting it or we're culling it. It's simple as that. But when we're dealing with polygenic traits, closer the pair are to each other, the more progress we're going to make. If we see 2 birds with different traits, contrasting characteristics, then we're going to be working against ourselves the whole time. It's going to take us a long time to get there, even if sometimes we know what we're doing. So the idea is to look at the phenotype of the bird, find the best bird we can, and then try to find a mate that matches as close as possible, and we're going to get there faster.
And one thing, guys, if you do work on a strain, make your own strain or working on a recent one, whatever you do, once you get in years behind you doing this, don't ever add blood to them. Don't do yourself an injustice. I see that happen so many times. People flip out, one little thing go wrong, and then they add blood. And once you add blood, those birds that you had are never to return. They're different. You've changed them.
My members will know what I'm talking about. Once you reach stage 3, you should never be adding new blood because you're basically starting over. No, you're not basically. You are starting over.
You are. Yeah. You're adding defects, sickness. You could be adding lethal genes. You could be adding anything back to them. So you got to go through the cleanup process again. You've got to do all that back over. you're starting from scratch.
We're going to be a broken record. We usually are when it comes to this, but look at meiosis. Meiosis will tell you everything you need to know. Now, Frank sent me something on meiosis the other day, and it was right on the money. It said everything it needed to say, but it was too complicated for the average person. It was too much information. And what I've done with meiosis in the website is I've simplified it. I showed you what you need to know about meiosis, how it works, and why it's important. And every time you add new blood or cross them or infuse, meiosis is going to work against you. Meiosis, you basically have the crossover event. The chromosomes get together. You get a chromosome for the father, a chromosome for the mother. They wrap themselves together. When they split off, they leave parts of each other on each other. And then when they come together and split off again, they create 4 separate, unique gametes. And if you look at how that works, then you see that basically what you did was you recombinated genes. So when you're taking 2 birds that are unrelated, you're not getting the best of both worlds. It doesn't work like that. I'm not getting most of the father versus most of the mother or vice versa. I'm basically recombinating the genes completely. And if the birds match in a lot of ways, the recombination's still there. The only difference is you don't notice it because they're sharing the exact same gene, so it goes unnoticed. But that's usually the phenotype. That's not the genotype. The genotype's still unknown, and you're not going to realize what kind of predicament you're in until you're 3 or 4 generations down the road. And that's when you really find out. So meiosis is important because it shows you that adding or infusing new blood doesn't work like you think it does.
I think a lot of them wake up. It's so far down the road, though, Kenny, 3 or 4 years, what you just mentioned, difference.
Is he there?
I'm not sure. I've been chatting.
Let's see if he comes back. Because I wanted to say one more thing to him about that. You there, Frank?
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say,
I keep my mouth shut, I'm all right.
Okay. So what I wanted to say about that was that article you sent to me was right on the money. It said everything it needed to say. It really explained meiosis good. I might even said to you that I liked it, that it was a really good article. But then I thought about it, I go, oh, wait a minute. If I even put that on my website, the way it was written, it's just going to confuse people. They would be completely lost. It's too much information. And that's what I do on the website is I simplify. I take the information that's provided. I collect the information that I think the members need to know. And then I simplify it so that they understand it and can use it. That's the whole idea. I want them to be able to use it. The last thing I want to talk about before we jump off would be know your goals before you begin. And I know that seems obvious, but I don't think a lot of people do that because they don't really know where they want to go. Sometimes they want to try to find good birds and they're spending a lot of money getting them. But once they get them, they don't know where to go after that. All they're doing is reproducing birds. They're multiplying their flock, basically.
Or,
they're not really trying to create a family.
Replicators.
Yeah,
Is what I
replicators.
initially said, replicators.
Yeah. The idea of creating a family sometimes isn't there. They're just trying to multiply their numbers, make more of them. So I think it's important to know your goals before you get into this.
Get as many as they can and breed them all. That used to be the goal.
And then sell them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything you guys want to say before we wrap up the front end so we can go on the back end, talk with our members?
Sorry for the in and outs tonight, guys. I don't know what's up with this internet. Didn't have a bit of problem on the back end of the show. And as soon as the show started, it started acting up. In good weather, too.
You got to quit inviting those gremlins to come play with you. Rolando, we will answer that question inside the back end. I call the VIP room. They call the roundtable membership because that's something.
It's the members roundtable, but we also call it the after show. It has so many names. I don't know. But it's basically the members roundtable.
I'll meet you in the VIP room. But
we ditched that a long time ago, you know.
All right. Just make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and share often if you like our show and all our bloopers that we have for you tonight. I hope it was very entertaining, and we'll see you next week.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. We'll see our members in the back end. See you guys later. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you again for joining us on the Bred to Perfection podcast show. This show was brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where by becoming a member, you can increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and take you and your fowl to the next level.
We can also show you how to create a strain from hybrid crosses or mongrel flocks and help you to create, maintain, and improve your present strains. We urge you to check it out. You have nothing to lose, and you can cancel anytime.
To join us at the Breeders' Academy membership website, go to www.breedersacademy.com.
Best of all, I'll be there to help you every step of the way.
While you're checking out the Breeders' Academy, make sure to sign up for our newsletter, The Breeders' Bulletin. We provide a lot of free bonus materials and some great information that will take you and your fowl to the next level. Well, that's it for now.
We hope you join us next time for another episode of Bred to Perfection. We'll see you later.
Bye.